Hey everybody, welcome back here in this Fixx album review series here. We are continuing to truck along here. This time I've run through all the stuff I got on vinyl for them. We're in the CD era, right? Late 90s, 1998. So a good, 7 years in between albums since Ink was in 91. So these guys did go a while without any releases. But of course, today we are going to be talking about Elemental. And this one, I kind of hinted at my feelings on this one the last time during that Ink album review at the end of that, where, I was like, hey, this thing is, I remember being a problem. I've only heard this album once before listening to it again here for this review. So, and I remember not having a very good experience with it. However, to my own surprise here, I actually had a pretty damn good time with this album. Like, I remember hating this thing. And I don't really know. I think maybe what it was the few problems on here just kind of really, like, stuck out to me and made me just forget about the really, really solid stuff on here. But that's why it's awesome going back and listening through this stuff, because things like this that happen where now I've got a new like for this album. So anyways, let's hop on into this thing with two different views, and right off the bat we kind of get we get one of the best songs off here. Fantastic, really. It is a lot different than a lot of the other stuff. It is heavily acoustic, which we're gonna see full effect on the next album. But it's really acoustic, really great and hooky chorus and verses. And it's one of the best ones off here, because whenever I was listening to this thing again, I was like, man, I don't remember this one. This is actually pretty damn good. And these guys do acoustic and softer stuff very well, actually. I mean, they've proven that in the past using acoustic guitars and stuff like that. And kind of sparingly. Mainly they have like this, that kind of crazy guitar tone we've talked about this whole time with Jamie West Oram, but that they've used acoustic guitars and stuff like that. But this one was really leaned on that a lot, and it made for a fantastic Fixx song. I'm talking one of, if not the best ones off here. So hearing this again and hearing this song, I was like, man, what was I thinking, right? So let's continue trucking on through where we have the other one that's probably, my first or second favorite off here. We're talking about Going Without. And this one sounds much more like, it kind of has some acoustic tones in it as well, but it really has that same, or it really has that classic Fixx feel, especially during the chorus. You kind of get this kind of twinkle sound of, just the way Jamie West Oram's guitar is going along on this one. And man, the chorus, it's going to be in my head, man. Love, love, love this one. Another one, again, that I didn't remember. I barely remembered any of these. If any, I remembered like the problems and the ones I didn't like, right? That was just one of those cases where, it ended up being where those just stuck out, and I was like, but this Going Without is a fantastic song off here. Both two different views of Going Without. Best ones off here to me, for sure. Then we go with one of the kind of problems here with Is That It? Has a really cool riff. There's some distortion going on in this one, which, is really cool to hear from Jamie West Oram, considering he normally goes with that really clean tone. The verses are pretty neat, kind of cool going, but it's in the chorus where I'm like, kind of lose me a little bit. They still kind of have a cool riff going on in the chorus, but the vocal stuff and like the melody and this kind of like la 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 kind of thing going on in it, which there's that same problem later on in one of these tracks, but that's kind of a problem for me in this one, and it's kind of just a weird sound. This was one of the ones I kind of remember being one that I didn't really like, but I like it a little bit because those verses and stuff are pretty cool. So then we go with Happy Landings, which is another one that goes with the acoustic, really acoustic sound and kind of a spacey kind of sound at the same time. Very cool one. Not necessarily like a major standout in the album, but just a solid track nonetheless. Then we followed up with Silent House, another one that's pretty damn solid, and you're just kind of in the middle here with, and much like Happy Landings, it's just kind of a solid track, maybe kind of filler-ish, just a solid track that kind of keeps you coasting along through the album. That's not really, again, not really not a problem per se, but just not like a standout track. So also both of these ones I did not remember. Then we go on to Fatal Shore, and man, what a bass line on this one. This one's freaking cool, right? This one is another one that is one of my favorites off here. Just really, really liked the bass groove going on with this one. And just the whole vibe of this track was really, really solid. Had that kind of classic Fixx sound, with the bass being like the most prominent thing going on in this one, which really made for an interesting track. Then we go on to Ocean Blue, which is another just solid track, but not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily like classify it as like the filler kind of bits of the album, because this was another really, really good one. Again, much to my surprise. This one, just fantastic track. Another one that's got a really, really cool riff and bass line going on with it. So the bass it's always been a big part of the Fixx's discography and their albums and everything. I think they got a different bassist on here. I can't remember his name. Or at least I saw like where he was in like the additional musicians or whatever. But hey, that dude does a really damn good job, especially on Ocean Blue and Fatal Shore. Really, really cool tracks that are both kind of heavy on the bass side of things. So really, really dig those. Then we go with You Know Me, and this one has a really different kind of sound to it than the rest of the album, which it does really kind of harken back to the classic kind of Fixx sound with that guitar tone of Jamie West Orman. It kind of almost has like a disco-y kind of sounding like guitar riff thing going on it, but it's like in a really cool way, because it's got that kind of palm muty kind of sound that Jamie West Orman does sometimes, and to kind of pluck through a riff, and it's just really, really hooky. Hell, the riff is the hookiest part of the whole damn song. And this is another one that's going to be in my head. This is another really, really good song that I just very much dig. Solid stuff. Then we get near the end here with track number 9. And this one, this is one of those ones that I'm like, not the biggest on here, but it's okay. It's not one that really stands out. Probably one of the ones I really was not the biggest fan of the first listen, but now I'm kind of like warming up to it a little bit. It's all right. Kind of on the bottom end of this thing, kind of where I kind of placed, is that it? So those two are kind of near the bottom with some redeeming qualities to them. Now, the final track here, Life's What's Killing Me, I do not like this song at all. This one is it's kind of laughable to me. It's got some cool instrumentation going on in a couple moments, but this is another like la 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 kind of weird like vocal thing going on that I'm not a fan of. I found myself laughing at this song really. And this is now it makes sense, why I hated the sound for so long, because I'm left with the final track being that, and I'm like, what the hell? So it being the final track on here, and the one before it being one I'm not really too fond of, kind of left me with a bad taste in my mouth with this album. So, Life's What's Killing Me is easily the worst on here, because I don't even think it's a good song at all. And is one of their worst songs ever, if you ask me. One that is just kind of a joke to me. Really weird chorus, kind of goofy sounding, just not a big fan, not a fan at all, really, of Life's What's Killing Me. Cool title, right? But nah, song is pretty freaking rough. But yeah, guys, this is one of those cases, man, where it's just one of those really cool cases where it just turns, your opinion just shifts in a whole different way, which I love to happen. You know, I love whenever I can find something I recently didn't like at all, even, you know, like this, and turn it in a way, you know, listen to it again and find some enjoyment in it. Because, you know, used to, I was like, man, when am I ever going to put this thing on again, right? Except whenever I knew I was coming up with this review series here. And I thought it would be another thing where I just pop this thing on the shelf and rarely ever put it on. But you know what? Now I'm like, hey, Elemental, probably going to pop you on every now and then because it's pretty damn good. And I'm just super shocked, dumbfounded, but glad to say it that I've found a new appreciation for this album. And it's not one that I hate like I did once before, as it does have some deep cuts on here. I don't really know of any hits that were off here. Again, this is 1998, kind of where their 80s synth kind of sound was not too popular. A lot of different things going on in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, and stuff like that. But I think Elemental is a very, very solid album. Not great, but very solid. So I'm glad I can actually appreciate this thing now. So if you guys heard this one, I do want to hear what you guys think about this, or if you guys maybe had a bad experience with it like me before, maybe try popping it on and seeing what you think about this, because I was pleasantly surprised that I do like it. And, you know, next time we close out the 90s with, it's listed as one of their studio albums on there, so I'm going to include it, 1011 Woodland Drive, or something, 1011 Woodland, or 1011 Woodland Drive, something like that, right? Kind of a weird name, but it's really like almost like an unplugged album where it's got, I mean, I think the last 3 tracks are live on it. But all the other tracks on it are like acoustic renditions of just some of their best material. So I'm really excited to dig back into that one, and a good way to close out the 90s. Because you know what? I thought, you know, we opened up the 90s with an incredible Fixx album with Ink. I thought this was going to be kind of the sour spot. Turned out not being, and we're gonna see if we can close it out on a really high note with 1011 Woodland, or see kind of my thoughts on that. That's another one I've only listened to once before, but I'm definitely excited to look back into, because it obviously we're gonna get to listen to some the old material, a lot of the 80s material and stuff. If I remember correctly, it's like only the 80s material in acoustic renditions and acoustic form. So that'll be fun to kind of listen to those songs with that spin on them again. So anyways, guys, let's talk about this thing down here. If you've heard it, what were your initial thoughts? Did you have a bad reaction to it like me at first? And, you know, or do you still, or after a couple listens, are you still not a fan? Let's see what you think about on this thing right here with the Fixx Elemental. And of course, tomorrow, guys, I'm doing that updated Judas Priest ranking that includes Invincible Shield. So stay tuned for that. I'm super pumped to get that one out. It's been a long time coming. Of course, I had kind of a slower posting process over the past couple of months. I had a lot of stuff going on, but I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things here, where we're going to be able to do the regular posting like I once was doing before, like every week. Which I know I normally do like the wrestling reviews. Those are pretty easy to pop out, even during busy times. But, you know, these reviews and rankings and stuff like that are going to become popping up more, again, more consistently again. So stay tuned for that, guys. Check out tomorrow's Judas Priest updated discography ranking. Like, subscribe, comment, and thanks, guys.